The Detroit Lions just announced a change that could completely transform the team's offensive direction, and it's sending fans into a tizzy. Dan Campbell, the coach who never shies away from bold decisions, revealed that he intends to balance the use of running backs David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, something that could profoundly change Detroit's offensive dynamics. This news comes at a crucial moment in the season, when every tactical adjustment can determine whether the team maintains its dominant rhythm or begins to falter. Before diving into all the details of this change, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because there's plenty of breaking news about the Lions' offensive plan and what could happen in the upcoming game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The truth is that the Lions' offense, one of the most explosive in the NFL, has been driven primarily by the incredible talent of the Montgomery-Gibbs duo. So far, Gibbs has been the undisputed starter in all 6 games this season, appearing in 62% of the offensive snaps and racking up an impressive 87 carries and 23 receptions. Montgomery, on the other hand, has been playing in more of a secondary role, just 39% of the snaps, with 65 rushes and 9 receptions. But that's about to change. Campbell made it clear that he wants to balance opportunities between the two, saying he doesn't want either of them to have an excessive load, but I'd like to see more touches for David. This comment, coming directly from the head coach, is a sign that the Lions' offensive scheme may take on a new look and perhaps a new rhythm in the coming weeks. And there's a strategic reason behind this. Campbell explained that part of this imbalance stems from 2-minute situations, when Gibbs is typically the one on the field. These quick, high-intensity plays end up inflating the rookie's participation, but they also mask how much Montgomery can impact the game when he has the ball in his hands. Offensive assistant Scotty Montgomery reinforced this point, stating that the team needs to find creative ways to involve the veteran running back more. In other words, the Lions want the offense to become unpredictable again, alternating Gibbs' quick bursts with Montgomery's physicality and timing, and that may be exactly what was missing in the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. In that game, the Lions managed just 98 rushing yards and no touchdowns, a far cry from the dominant pattern fans have become accustomed to seeing. It was a shock, especially since Detroit ranks among the top 8 teams in the NFL in rushing yards per game, averaging an impressive 128.7. Without the running game working, the offense became predictable, and Jared Goff lacked the support he needed to punish the opposing defense with long passes. Now Campbell wants to fix that, and the plan is simple: return to running with authority, control the clock, and make the Buccaneers' defense feel the physical weight of Detroit's offense from the first quarter. But the detail that's really drawing attention and could completely change the course of this matchup is Gibbs' recent record against Tampa Bay. In the last 2 meetings between the teams, the Lions have accumulated 252 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, 158 of which came directly from Gibbs. And most notably, it was against the Buccaneers in last season's playoffs that the young running back shone with a decisive touchdown in the 4th quarter, leading Detroit to the NFC Championship game. This kind of performance makes it clear that Gibbs is the kind of player who thrives in big moments. And now, with Montgomery able to share the load better, he could be even more lethal. This new approach promises to restore balance and freshness to the offense. When the Lions establish the running game early, Goff's play action becomes deadly, opening up space for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta to destroy opposing secondary teams. And with 2 such different and complementary weapons in the backfield, Detroit can force defenses into disarray, never knowing whether they'll face Gibbs' cutting agility or Montgomery's brutal power through the line. It's an exciting and at the same time dangerous scenario for rivals. Fans are already divided. Some want to see Gibbs dominate, others believe Montgomery should receive more opportunities because he's more dependable and consistent. But one thing is certain: Dan Campbell's decision isn't just tactical, it's symbolic. It shows the coach isn't satisfied with maintaining the status quo. He wants more balance, more unpredictability, and above all, more wins. And with the Buccaneers ahead, this could be the perfect opportunity for Detroit to prove it's still one of the most feared offenses in the league. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Dan Campbell is right to give Montgomery more touches, or should Gibbs remain the main driver of the offense? Leave your opinion in the comments because the debate is hot among fans.
The Detroit Lions have just become the center of attention in the NFL with a potentially massive roster shakeup. According to new projections from ESPN, the team may be about to make 2 trades before the trade deadline, moves that could completely change the course of the season. And most impressively, one of the names involved would be a Bengals defensive star, while the other comes directly from Miami. That's right, the Lions could be preparing a 1-2 punch to bolster the defensive line and strike fear into any quarterback in the league. But before I tell you who these players are and why this decision could transform Detroit into an even greater power in the NFC, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's get straight to the news. After the heavy loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, their first since Week 1 when the team fell to the Packers, it's become clear that Dan Campbell's team needs more help in the pass rush. Aiden Hutchinson is a monster, no one disputes that, but he's practically single-handedly struggling to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And that's where the crux of this story comes in. The Lions are eyeing 2 names who could be the perfect Robin to Hutchinson's Batman. Sources connected to ESPN, including analyst Bill Barnwell, claim that Detroit may be planning a 2-man offense to turn the defense into a nightmare for opposing offenses. And the first name in this bombshell is none other than Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals star. Barnwell had previously suggested this move, but now the proposal has gained even more traction, especially since Hendrickson is entering the final year of his contract. This means the cost of acquiring him would be lower, but still a bold move. The Bengals, facing uncertainty about his future and with no guarantee of a re-signing, may prefer to get something in return now rather than lose him for free in free agency. Hendrickson, with his ability to explode off the snap and destroy screens, would be the perfect piece to divide the attention of opposing defenses and free up even more space for Hutchinson to shine. Imagine the 2 of them playing together on the same defensive front. It would be a veritable storm for any quarterback in the league. But Barnwell didn't stop there. He believes the Lions can go further and bring in Jalen Phillips of the Miami Dolphins. Yes, a double-digit bombshell. Phillips, a 2021 first-round pick, doesn't have impressive numbers at first glance, just 1 sack and 3 knockdowns in 5 games. But advanced statistics tell a different story. According to Next Gen Stats, Phillips has a pressure rate of 14.5%, above the league average, and his pressure arrives in just 2.6 seconds, one of the fastest among edge rushers with at least 100 snaps. This means that even without racking up sacks, he constantly forces the quarterback to deviate from the original play plan, essential for disrupting explosive offenses like those of San Francisco or Philadelphia. Most interestingly, Phillips has been recovering from a difficult series of injuries, including a torn Achilles tendon and 2 torn ACLs. Even so, this season he finally appears healthy and returning to his full potential. For the Lions, this is the perfect definition of risk and reward. A young player with the sky-high ceiling who can be acquired at a much lower price than an established star. Combine that with Hendrickson, and the result is one of the most lethal pass rushes in the NFL, something that would definitely place Detroit among the top contenders for the NFC title. With these potential moves, the Lions would show they're not just dreaming of the playoffs, they want to dominate. And considering the team's recent track record, Brad Holmes' aggressive mentality, and Dan Campbell's fearless style, no one doubts Detroit can truly make this bold move. The question now is, can they pull off these trades in time? The clock is ticking, and if all this pans out, the conference landscape could completely change in a matter of days. Stay tuned, fans, because the next few hours could be hectic. And if these names do land in Detroit, the Lions' roar will echo loudly throughout the NFL.